wish I knew what caused it. Was the whiskey flowing? Were you in a fight? Did the nurse come get you? What's your alibi? On the way back to LA, that's where you'll be forgot. In 40 years, you'll still be here, drunk, washed up in Austin.
Hello everybody, welcome back. It is Monday, July 29th, 2024, and you're listening to a very special episode of Midnight Film Society. Your host, Damian Sherman. Joining me today is...
Derek McDuff.
On today's show, Derek and I are in person, banging the flesh.
No.
We just got out of the biggest release of the year, Deadpool and Wolverine. We break down all the moments, cameos, and holy shit moments. After that, we'll get into everything we've seen, smelled, and experienced at the 2024 San Diego Comic-Con. What's up, Derek? How we doing?
We're doing well, recording live from beautiful San Diego, nowhere near the Hollywood Hills. But yeah, looking at you right in your eyeballs in person.
Banging eye flash.
Don't stop saying we're not.
We banged some flash.
No, that did not happen.
We're squishy. I would like to keep going, but this flesh is weak. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm Wolverine and you're Deadpool right now. What are you talking about?
Do you ever shut up, bub? All right. So, Derek, how are you feeling today after Comic-Con?
Exhausted. I am absolutely beat after those 5 days of conventions and the Hall H and all the stuff we'll be talking about. But it's a good exhausted. You know?
First and foremost, really need to just thank Derek on the pod, on the audio track. Get that for posterity. Thank you so much, sir, for the tickets, for getting me into all of the stuff. Your badge, your press badge, got me into all the days. They were all good. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, my pleasure. I was happy to have you out here. Good to meet you in person.
Yes.
Good excuse for us to record one of these live.
Did I live up to all your expectations?
Oh, you were exactly as I pictured you would be. I am not shocked at. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Damian in the flesh. Yep.
For better and for worse, you did as well.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. So let's get into all the stuff. Actually, you know what? I was going to say we're going to do Deadpool and Wolverine first because much more to talk about with Comic-Con and all of that. So not only did we just finish up with Comic-Con, we also finished up literally minutes ago Deadpool and Wolverine, biggest release of the year. I believe yesterday they were talking about it on the panel, on the Phase Zero panel. They're saying it's made like 400-something million. It's probably made even more a day after we just saw it. Quick thoughts, simple thoughts, all the thoughts. Derek, what do you think of Deadpool and Wolverine?
It's wild. You know, it's a Monday, but it was a sold-out theater, you know, and it was cool that, we got to do this for the biggest movie of the year, you know, like it worked out really well. It's like, oh, you're going to be in town for Comic-Con and Deadpool and Wolverine is coming out. So yeah, this makes sense. This is great because it's like very fresh because we just drove here. It took a little bit longer to record than necessary, but
mere minutes.
But no, my initial thoughts are it reminded me a lot of, not in terms of like, the film itself, but what the film was trying to accomplish in terms of something like No Way Home. How that was like, this is going to be a look back, a wrap up of all of Sony's Spider-Man films. This was, let's look back at all of the X-Men films, right? The Fox Universe. Yeah, more than just the X-Men films. Because should we go full spoilers or should we hold off on that?
Well, yeah, let's do overall thoughts before getting into spoilers.
Because I will say, with avoiding spoilers, this movie is really sweaty. This movie's really like not sweaty like the seat that was that you were in. You told me about next. You were like
dripping. You can see it. You can smell it. You can taste it. It's all here.
Oh, the first two, not so much the third one. Like this movie, like the conceits of it, like how do we work Deadpool into these different situations? They were bending over backwards a lot of the time. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. It's like, okay, it's Deadpool. It's a kind of ridiculous character. It was less of a coherent through-line movie with a plot that mattered than the first two Deadpools. But it was fun. It was a nice send-off to that Fox universe, I thought. Much better than New Mutants would have been. Can we, after like this universe, for better or for worse, which I think I disliked more movies in that universe than I liked, but there was a lot of good stuff there, and it was kind of a pioneer for Marvel. It's where Feige and a lot of these guys got their starts, you know. Hugh Jackman is obviously iconic, and there was even some other Fox-related stuff that I won't spoil yet that I was really surprised that showed up in this movie. It was really a pretty tremendous send off. And so in terms of just like, was this a fun movie? It was. I would put this like on a level of like something as like a Godzilla versus Kong. You know, like it was just some dumb fun. And at the end of the day, you know, it's probably a movie that it's probably pretty rewatchable.
I would agree mostly with everything you said. Yeah, very, very rewatchable, very fun. We'll get into spoilers about the heart of it, the meaning behind it, and all that stuff. But yeah, right from the get go, I thought somebody was like miming or like singing the Marvel theme behind me somewhere, but it just ended up being Deadpool. So it was very cool to see that. Like right from the beginning, you sometimes think of like that Marvel intro, that Marvel bum ba da dum ba da dum ba bum.
Bum 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 bum
Yeah.
bum bum bum. Yeah.
Yeah, you think of that like outside of the universe, but that is still where Deadpool likes to play, even though in the opening credits, which is very cool to see.
Yeah.
So right from the start, you're like, holy shit, this is you're just gonna make fun of every little bit of it. Yeah, it was incredible, amazing fight scenes. I like some of them more than others. The humor is right there. It is always funny to see anybody be the straight man. For Deadpool, but especially Wolverine, because Wolverine is like the ultimate straight man, the ultimate guy that's just like, I'm fucking tired, but I'm just gonna fucking do this, and just I don't care. God, he's so emo, so the perfect character to play off Deadpool's wackiness, silliness, fourth wall breaking. So Hugh Jackman was incredible in this. We talk about this all the time. There were so many jokes near the end. Deadpool making about like, you're going to be doing this till you're 90, dude. They're going to keep bringing you back and bringing you back, and you are never going to get out of this. But for now, he's definitely in his prime. We've seen him with his shirt off near the end. We'll talk about that later. Hugh Jackman kind of was the heart of it. The heart of it, and the shoulders of it, and the chest of it, and the abs of it. But yeah, just overall, loved a lot of it.
Yeah, I think this is probably like the send off for him. Like this is like the third send off for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. It feels like, but I don't. And because one of the things is like, how do you bring him back after Logan? And it's like, it's like, okay, we're gonna give him a really good send off, and so I think that they, without giving any spoilers, I do think that this is probably it for, the Fox X-Men characters as we know them, including Deadpool.
Yes. All right. So overall thoughts are over. Let's just dive deep into Deadpool and Wolverine. Spoilers right now. So we'll probably be talking spoilers, I don't know, for at least 20, 30 minutes, between 30 minutes and 3 hours. We could be going for a long time here. So spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine starting right now. So the basic story is pretty early on, right? Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool goes looking for Wolverine because Deadpool is pulled into the TVA, and he meets Paradox, played by Matthew McFadden from Succession. And Matthew McFadden says to him, "Listen, man, we brought you here because." He was like, Deadpool was like, well, what about that killing I did across the Fox universe? Are you pissed about that? He's like, yeah, there was a lot of killing, but no.
Well, he was saying like, oh, is it because of all the time shenanigans I did, which I thought was going to be how the movie kicked off. Like that was going to be the thing, and they were like, no, we have an excuse that's way worse and shittier and dumber than that.
The excuse was that when the universe anchor, I forget what the name of it was, but
it was anchor,
yeah, the anchor dies, and so the universe dies with the anchor, and the anchor of that universe, of Deadpool's universe, was Logan now. So I guess I'll just ask you right off now the question about what this means for Deadpool's universe. Was the Logan we saw in the movie Logan in Deadpool's universe?
So the way I took that was that because like the Fox, all the X-Men timelines are super convoluted and make no sense. So the way I took that is there's certain things that have happened in multiple universes, as we've seen, like through other Marvel movies. There's been constants in universes, and just because there is the things that happened in Logan happened in Deadpool's universe doesn't necessarily mean that both movies are the same. It's the same way that you see like a Captain Carter in that John Krasinski fucking universe, but that doesn't mean she's the same Captain Carter that we saw in What If or whatever.
Sure. Okay. I'll agree with that. Paradox was like, yeah, your universe is dying, but it's dying slowly, and I want to just speed that shit up because I got shit to do. I want to be the TVA, he says, which I don't know what that means. So he's like, yeah, we're gonna speed this shit up. I got this universe destroyer. I forgot the name of the MacGuffin thing.
Yeah.
So he's like, I got this machine. I'm going to speed it up in 72 hours, which gives us a timeline. So he's like, in 72 hours, your universe is gone. So fuck you. You can either stay here with the TVA and be Marvel Jesus. You can be super important to everybody, every universe, or you can go back to the universe and die with them. And he's like, I'm going to do neither. How about neither? He's
Door
like,
number 3, please.
Yes, exactly. So quick montage through different universes. The first one fucking copy. Short Logan, short Wolverine. He's like comic accurate Wolverine.
Yeah.
Oh, bub. Okay, all right. So he flies through different, montages, different X-Men, different Logans, different Wolverines. One was on a cross with a bunch of dead bodies. How many of those did you recognize yourself?
Like some of them were like iconic art, where like I recognize the cross artwork, like the X cross, I guess, and obviously like I know that like comics Wolverine is a short little dude.
Yes.
Not that short, but
Pretty short.
And then there was like the one where he's got like the long hair, or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I've seen some iconography of that before, but I couldn't tell you what it was from.
Yes. He goes to many different universes. They all just beat the shit out of him, and then he goes to one in a bar, and the one in the bar is just like super emo, and the bartender serving him, and the guy is just like, so that Wolverine is the Wolverine we're going to be following through the rest of the movie.
Right.
So
we did skip over though the best Wolverine,
which was what?
which was the Henry Cavill Wolverine.
Yes.
That was so fucking good. That got me. I was like, God damn, that's incredible. Because I think that's been some casting.
Yes.
Like, because that's nothing new. Marvel has been leaning to like, hey, we're gonna have some fun with these casting rumors. Like they did with Krasinski. And it's like, yeah, here, and they do it again in this movie as we'll get to. Like they were like, okay, cool, have him, Cavill, and they make some jokes about, how he kind of got shafted with Superman and stuff like that in the DC universe. So that was great, and because you see him from behind, and he makes Hugh Jackman look like not a strong guy, So I just wanted to shout out Henry Cavill on this.
Yes, he does like when he busts his claws out, he just like he does the arm.
The arm loading from fucking Mission Impossible Fallout or whatever. Yeah,
that was very good. So he grabs the Wolverine. He grabs our Wolverine. He pulls him into the TVA. They go to the TVA, and he's like, "Look, man, I got this guy. I got this Wolverine. He's going to be the anchor." Right. And so Paradox is like, no, this Wolverine's a piece of shit. And so he tells him about what happened, and then just quickly, stabs him with the thing, sends him to the Void, sends Wolverine to the Void. That's where we spend the majority of the rest of the movie, right?
Right. Which is like I think there's a nihilist there, and I think you were in the bathroom in the part where he says a nihilist like Loki from Loki season 1 episode 5.
Explain to people and myself what a nihilist was.
A nihilist was this. So when in Loki, when people would get sent to they would get hit with the fucking stick or whatever, and you thought they were dying, they were actually being sent to like the end of time. And at the end of time was this monster that would fucking eat everything. Yes, okay. And then I think that Loki got eaten, and then he met Jonathan Majors. It's been a couple years since I've seen it. He met Kang, who, by the way, as we'll get to, does not fucking matter at all.
No. Just careful on the finger there with just one little button there that's like the on and off switch. Yeah. They both go to the Void very quickly. They first meet. I recognize the voice.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I know who that is.
Yes, and it's Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, as the Fantastic Four.
Whoa, like you got a whole because you just went way too far because I did. That was my favorite bit in the entire movie. All right. It's because you see, it's like, oh, you're like, that sounds like Chris Evans. He gets down, and then he's cussing, and you're like, wait a minute. At least I was like, fucking wait a minute, because I was kind of like expecting them to do that bit in Secret Wars. Yeah. I was expecting him to show back up as like Human Torch rather than Captain America, and like Mark Ruffalo or somebody would be like, oh, why do you look like that? But they did in this one, which I thought was actually really appropriate because he is part of this Fox superhero Fox Marvel lineage, and while so it really did play, it gave us these expectations like, oh, he's back, but he's not back. Like, this is of course Evan's first movie back in Marvel Universe since Endgame. They played up your expectations. It's like, no, this is not a reference to the Marvel fucking Infinity Saga. This is a reference to the Fox movies, and that really helped put me in perspective. Like, this is not just like a thing about Deadpool and Wolverine, and we're going to make some references to some old X-Men movies. It's like, no, this is really a love letter to the wider Fox universe. And And as soon as Chris Evans, he said like dick or something like that. I was like, that's not a Captain America thing to say. Who was way more crass? Fucking Johnny Storm. And they really went all out with that. So
Yes.
he was my favorite part of the entire movie.
Yeah, so you can tell me. I went to the bathroom after Johnny Storm. Like I thought he died there. I thought he shot Pyro with his flame, and his flame went out, and he fell and hit his balls on that piece of scaffolding, and then fell to the ground. And I thought he died there. And I went to the bathroom. Tell me what I missed.
I mean, he just like they didn't really show it. I think he was in that end credit scene where he's in the cage and being kind of transported. They're just like talking, and he's just like basically giving some exposition on Cassandra Nova is a bad bitch, like essentially. So yeah, it was just kind of it was just cool to see him in that role again. I love Chris Evans when he's like gets to be like foul mouthed and nasty, like when I watched Knives Out. So. Yeah, exactly. So it was really cool to see him back in that role.
So then they go to Cassandra Nova's headquarters, literal headquarters, located in a head.
Head of Ant-Man.
Head of Ant-Man.
Giant Ant-Man, I guess.
Giant Ant-Man. I love the joke. What's his name? Ant-Man actor.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd finally aged because you see the giant skull. So Cassandra Nova comes out, does the whole ba 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 ba. Deadpool like starts mouthing off and says like Johnny Storm said all this crap about you, and then Cassandra Nova just decimates Johnny Storm. Tell us how he dies.
She rips the skin off of his body telepathically, and fucking his organs fall apart, which. Like I was like I get why they do that, but I really wanted him to stick around because I was having so much fun with him.
Yeah. So let's see. So then she does her whole like why I'm here. Here's what we're doing. Here's the whole thing, and then what's his name? The giant smoke monster comes in. Annihilus comes in, is about to eat everyone, and then they sort of somehow escape in like some kind of. Not a ship, but just like something that shut off really quickly.
Like a
rocket
leg
ship
from Iron Man. Something. Who knows?
Who knows what that was? So they shoot off. They escape. They start walking. They meet Nice Pool. They meet a not burned version of Deadpool, and he explains the whole situation of like there's survivors and there's people out here. Well, I think I'm skipping over. Didn't they meet? They found food and they start talking, and then they do get the meet cute of just like why are you here? And they have like a heart to heart about Deadpool's wife or girlfriend left him, so that's why he's here looking for purpose, looking for meaning. He wants to mean something. So they have a nice little chat, and then they meet Nice Pool. Played by Ryan Reynolds again, just unburned Ryan Reynolds and the dog, which was very cute. That went on for a while of him just licking the face, and Ryan Reynolds is like licking him back. It was very funny. Let's see. So what happens after that? Then they have a fight. They get in a car. Oh yeah, they find the car. They find the. I forget the name of the car, but anyways, they find a car. Honda
Civic, maybe?
Yeah. So anyways, they get in a car, they start traveling. Deadpool says like, I think they can fix us, or like they says if they can save your world. Because the whole thing, the reason Wolverine is helping Deadpool is because Deadpool said, I will help your world get back. Whatever they talked about the reason. They haven't gotten into the whole specifics of what happened to Wolverine's world, but Wolverine is basically just a broken guy because of something that happened. So Deadpool says, I'll help you fix that. He says in the car, if they can help fix your world. Wolverine goes, what do you mean if? He's like, it was a something wish. It was a estimated wish or something like that, right? So he's like, it was
an educated wish.
An educated wish. He's like, what do you mean educated wish? They have one of the best fights in the movie in the car, just going back and forth, just fucking wrecking each other's shit. They eventually go to sleep. Somebody picks them up. They wake up. And Cameo City, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then they meet all the quote unquote resistance.
Yes.
Which is I don't know if you wanted to introduce who they all are, because I just was so giddy when I saw each of them come up.
First one I believe was Elektra, right? Jennifer Garner's Elektra first appears. They do this whole like very slow motion, very dramatic. People coming around the corner.
Yes.
People coming in the door. First was Elektra. Then I want to say it wasn't Gambit. It was before Gambit. It was
Blade.
It was Blade.
Yeah. Wesley Snipes. Blade.
Yes. And then it was Gambit. And so the three of them are talking about.
And the Gambit specifically played by Channing Tatum. Who people who are listening are not aware. They was trying to make a Gambit solo film starring Channing Tatum
Yes.
for like years, and it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and obviously
Yes.
never happened. And then Tatum comes out doing this ridiculous, goes with me with so Caucasian accent, you know, and it was like so fucking good because it's so over the top and ridiculous.
It was very funny. So they start chatting. Deadpool's making references to their movies or whatever. Hugh Jackman is just drinking his head off, and Gambit like destroys one of the beer bottles. And then the big one comes around the corner. They're like, there's four of us, and it's like, who's the fourth one? And in comes X-23. I forget Daphne Keane. Yeah, Daphne Keane's X-23 comes around the corner. So that was a big moment.
Yeah, and it's a moment that unfortunately the trailers spoiled, and even though I didn't see the trailers, I was on Instagram and someone's like, Daphne Keane, 20, this is what she looks like now in the new movie. And I'm like, and that's why like it was funny because like we're in the theater and every time fucking one of these guys comes out, people start cheering, and then she comes out and nobody does anything because it's like, yeah, we knew this was happening.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. So yeah, they just Deadpool does the thing. He's like, I need you guys to save the world. I need you guys to help or save my world.
Yeah.
They're like, no, and then he just does the thing, the speech of like, you need to do it because your guys are heroes. And so
and a nice reference to the fact that Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck are divorced because she's like, Daredevil didn't make it, and she's like, eh.
Okay, so they eventually agreed to team up. They have a nice little moment. Wolverine's outside drinking near a fire. Daphne King comes around and they have a nice little chat, and we get the reason, the whole exposition about Wolverine's world. He just says, I just fucked up. I just didn't care. I went off drinking one night and the humans came and killed all my friends, and I'm sad about it. Yeah. So there's that. Next morning they just did a bum rush. They just bum rush the headquarters with a giant bazooka and come in, and it was an okay fight scene. I was mentioning this on the way back of that was probably my least favorite action set piece because it was so cutty, just fighty. Some cool moments, right? And then we sort of, they have that moment. They're all Blade and Gambit and Elektra are just, they're not fodder, but they are just there to distract all the guards around them and distract. There's some cool people. Toad got killed.
Toad is there, yeah. And I was like, I wanted to see if that was actually Ray Wise, who played Toad in the originals. Of course, also played Darth Maul.
Yes.
So I couldn't look that up.
Go ahead. Yeah, while I talk, you look that up. Decent fight scene, some good moments. Daphne Keane was just fucking shit up. She cuts off Juggernaut's ankles, so he falls over, and she eventually grabs the head, the Juggernaut's head, because it has a headpiece, because that is what. Right,
and it's the same exact look of the Juggernaut from X3 when it was played by Vinnie Jones, which I thought was great.
It's very cool. So fighty stuff happens. Wolverine and Deadpool get to Cassandra Nova. I liked her character. What did you think? Because she is the main villain of this film. What did you think of her?
I really liked her, and maybe it's because she's played by Emma Corrin, who I really am a big fan of. But she was she was a really different, interesting villain than I think we've seen before. She's kind of just like she's like chaotic, but not in a way like the Joker is. Like she is clearly a very intelligent person who is. Motive, and she had some great lines. Like when they're like about to kill her, and they're like, "If you just like let us," they're like, "Why are you like this? I wish I knew." Like that sums up that character to a T. She's just kind of like this, basically a nihilist.
Yes.
Like she wants to just fuck everything up because why not? Like she's kind of hates the world, and at the end she becomes like the person who's going to destroy everything just for no reason, just because she's like, fuck the world, fuck everything, I'm just going to blow it up because I don't like it.
She mentioned being there since she was a kid, so that could be too, of like she was just ripped from her world and brought there as a child, and she's basically running the whole place. And I don't want to skip too far ahead, but she will, like you said, want to destroy every other existence so that she can rule the void. And so just going back to the fight, and
it looks like Toad is played by Ray Park.
Ray Park, yes.
I think I might have said Ray Wise, which is a very different person. He's on Twin Peaks.
Yes.
But yes, Ray Park.
So they are fighting outside. All of the other team members are fighting outside. X-23 gets the helmet up to Deadpool. We have this really nice moment, one of the big heartfelt moments of Cassandra Nova getting into Wolverine's head, telling him, trying to figure out what's driving him, just trying to psychologically fuck him up, bringing him back to the memories, bringing him back to his failures as a Wolverine, as a hero. So she's in his head, and Deadpool comes out of nowhere and puts the Juggernaut helmet onto her, and so blocks her, telepathic powers, and so they're holding her down there, and she's like, I'm gonna fuck you up when I get out of here. I'm gonna fucking blow your brains until whatever something happens, and so Deadpool and Wolverine are arguing back and forth of like, what do we do? Do we let her out? Do we not do this? And so. And then around the corner comes Pyro shooting her in the stomach because he's just pissed off. He's like,
Well, he's also working for.
Yes.
He's doing it so he can get out of there because
Yes.
he's working for
Paradox.
Paradox,
Yes.
as we found out later or earlier in another
Yes.
scene.
So they're arguing back and forth. Pyro comes in and shoots her in the stomach. So that really sets a timetable, sets a clock on how long they can argue about what to do with this,
Yeah.
which is pretty smart. I love the part where he's coming around the corner, shoots her, and he's like, for years, I've been in here doing your bidding, and this is fucking bull. And then Wolverine just punches, like, not everybody gets a speech, bub. So he goes down, and Wolverine and Deadpool keep talking, and Cassandra's like, okay, I forget what she's mentioned, but they basically come to an agreement of like, if you let me out of here, I'll because you're agreeing to save my life, I won't kill you.
I think it's he also strikes an emotional chord about like Charles Xavier is because at first she's like, no, fuck it, like Chaos Demon, like I'll die, that's fine, whatever. I don't know why I am the way I am. I'm gonna flick my bean to Anya. And so
she said, I think didn't she say that to Pyro after he got up, he woke up and she was saying something, or maybe it was to them.
It was to them, yeah. She said, which I think was a very funny line, and
it was very funny because again, she's like one of the straight men of this movie,
yeah.
and so she's like, when I get out of here, I'm gonna flick my bean to boiling your brains, and I'm like you're level. It's very funny. So they get the helmet off, and she says, okay. What did she mentioned there was a magician came down to the void.
An amateur magician.
An amateur magician. When I killed him and I wore his skin for like 3 days, I found this in my pocket. It was a sling ring. It was like sick. Doctor Strange, obviously. So she puts the sling ring on and she opens a portal. So this is like a kind of a dorky thing. It's a welcome to Damian's dorky comics book questions that probably don't have good answers corner.
Okay.
But sling rings it's been established that sling rings can get you out of the void, which the TVA is like beyond time and space. So I was assuming the void is also beyond time and space. So now we've established that the sling ring can operate outside of time and space as well.
Yeah, I guess so. Fucking nothing mattered in this movie, honestly. Like you can, I think that there's a lot of stuff you can just write it off as being like, oh, it's a silly Deadpool movie,
Agreed. So they jump through the portal.
Well, here let's
Okay.
let me try and I'll entertain the question and try like that. Maybe this variant specifically of Doctor Strange had a sling ring that could do that because he's from some multiverse we've never seen before.
Yes, very good. They jump through the portal. They go back to the portal is just like, yes, we'll bring it back to your exact dimension,
Yeah.
just because we can. So they go back to Deadpool's world. Remember what happened when they jumped through the portal? Go back to they go ahead.
They fight like 1,000 Deadpools, but
They land on the car.
Oh, right, yeah,
because at the beginning Deadpool is working at a used car lot trying to sell
Rob
cars
Delaney.
with Rob Delaney. That's where they go back to. They go back to the used car lot. They smash into this car that Rob Delaney is trying to sell, and they run off. They run off to. They run from the parking lot to so there's more exposition about because Emma Corrin comes through the portal and grabs what I forgot.
He's mad at Paradox for sending Pyro
Yes.
to try and kill her.
Yes.
So she comes back through the portal to fuck him up, and then finds out that there's a universe destroying thing, and she's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna destroy universes one by one until there's nothing left but the void."
Yes. So she does that. I like this moment because it's very like Beetlejuice-esque. It's very body horror where Cassandra Nova grabs Paradox's face and just grabs him and pulls him down into the subway where the world-destroying machine is, world-destroying MacGuffin is.
Yes.
So they go down into the subway, and the Deadpool and Wolverine are about to go into the subway when the portal is still open. That Cassandra Nova opened, and in walks 100 Deadpools, 100 different Deadpools, one of them being Lady Deadpool.
Lady Deadpool.
Yes. Midget Deadpools, fat Deadpools, Ronin Deadpools.
There's a cowboy Deadpool who played, as I just looked this up, played by Matthew McConaughey.
Was it?
Yeah.
Amazing. So they all
I think
rush.
there's I think Rob Mac from It's Always Sunny
Yes.
is one of them Deadpools too, I think.
Yes. Before I forget, just before the fight kicks off, they do the whole slow motion thing to Madonna's Like a Prayer, which was very funny. And behind them was a sign that said Liefeld's OnlyFees. fights.
Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit. They all come through the portal, and they're like, "We want to fight you because why?"
I think they were working for her or something. I don't know.
I don't remember why.
Didn't matter or make sense.
Yeah, Lady Deadpool is there talking, and they have and the only one working, the only one on Deadpool's side, Prime Deadpool's side, was Logan, the dog pool,
and
nice pool.
Immediately dies.
Not immediately. Not immediately. Prime Deadpool uses him. They start fighting. They start getting shot at, and Prime Deadpool uses Nice Deadpool as a human shield, literally getting shot over and over again. He's like, "You don't have regenerative powers? That's fucking weird." So they drags him out and gets shot immediately. Well, not immediately, but continues to get shot. He's like, "You're gonna live. You're gonna live," and he gets head blowing off. And then they pull him behind a car. Prime Deadpool grabs his golden magnums or whatever they were. Some
cool guns.
Some cool guns. He grabs the cool guns. Wolverine puts on the mask, the great mask. What do you think of the mask?
I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. I'm glad that, as they alluded to, they've gone from a place in the first X-Men movie where they were ashamed to basically look like X-Men, and they were like, black spandex, what do you expect? Blah, 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 that whole chestnut. And to the point where they're getting you the most comic accurate costumes ever, because it's cool to have nerdy shit now. I loved it.
So he puts on the mask. They come out to a prayer. And they just start fucking shit up. And it's one of my favorite fight scenes of this movie, and one of my favorite fight scenes of the MCU in a very long time.
Okay,
yes.
So see, it for me, on a technical level, it worked a little bit better, or it was definitely a lot better. It was clearly better than the fight scene that you had mentioned earlier, where it's Jennifer Garner and Wesley Snipes, they probably can't do all this crazy fight choreography. But on an emotional level, it didn't really work for me. That earlier fight worked for me a lot better, because it's these are characters that we know, that we care about, that are from these things, and it's cool to have them back. It's this hit of nostalgia, and they're going into this place with a clear goal and objective. Here it was just it felt like an excuse to just have all these Deadpools fighting, and then the fight didn't matter at all, because we knew they were going to regenerate.
Yeah.
For some reason, Deadpool and Wolverine didn't know that, and then they regenerate, and then they're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Okay, well, what's going to happen now?" And then they just find an excuse. They're like, "Rob, Peter's here.
Peter Bull."
And he's stopping the fight. And I was like, all right, why did I even see that fight then?
Because it's cool.
Yeah.
It's fucking badass.
Yeah.
So after the fight, they go down into the subway. They find, they find Cassandra Nova down there doing stuff, right?
They're like, Matthew McFadden, fucking, what's gonna happen? How do we stop this thing? And he's like, there's an antimatter MacGuffin going into it next to the regular MacGuffin going into it. You need to hold the thing and it'll annihilate you.
The matter and antimatter.
Yeah, and then and I did like that they brought back the aesthetic of kind of the universe getting destroyed from Loki season 2, where it kind of unspools, you know?
Yes.
I thought that I really liked that imagery, and I'm glad that they brought it back for this.
Yes, that was very cool.
And Cassandra Nova is just it's just it was cool.
So they're like, well, it was quite a few beats there. Deadpool and Wolverine are arguing about who's going to sacrifice for what. Deadpool says, I'm going to sacrifice because that's what I do. I'm Marvel Jesus. And so Wolverine says, no, man, you got everything. I got nothing. So he agrees to go in. They do a little switchy switch, like Armageddon type. And Deadpool punches him somehow and gets into the room. He grabs one of the, I think he grabs antimatter or matter, whatever it was. He grabs one aside, can't get to the other side. He gets down to 1% of the universe is gone, even though it's just a subway. Okay.
It's saying the universe is going to, it's once it hits 0, the universe will be destroyed.
Yes.
It doesn't, I don't think it's saying that there's 1% of the universe left.
Okay. So we get down to the nitty gritty. Paradox is like, it's gone, it's over. And you think it's over, and then ba-ba-ba-dum, Wolverine comes in. What does this harken back to you when you have two characters grabbing a thing and winning through the power of friendship?
I mean, Guardians won.
Guardians won, exactly. So it harkens back to that whole thing. But very good. So there was just that huge lead up of them just grabbing each other. For whatever reason, Wolverine's top part pops off so we can see all of Hugh Jackman's stuff and things. We knew this, and Deadpool is looking at them, so we know this is what that's for. It worked for me. Did that work for you?
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Okay. So they're just grabbing each other, yelling, screaming. Again, I was thinking like, okay, this is, some of the best endings of any Marvel movies were, Doctor Strange, of using his head, using intelligence, using words to beat the bad guy. But power of friendship, yelling, screaming, grabbing
it's better than them finding a way to like slice her up, or you gotta, get the helmet back or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it was like, okay, it was a more of a like, to defeat the bad guy, we're just gonna like do this other thing. I like that it was a little more than punchy, fighty.
Yes. So they big boom. Cassandra Nova booms. She explodes. Apparently, we thought Deadpool and Wolverine also exploded because he's Marvel genius. He's like, I have risen. We have. Oh, I forgot to mention B13. Is it B13 or B15? I forget.
I don't know. Yeah, from Loki.
From Loki, she discovers. So at some point in there, she discovers what's going on.
Yeah.
So they start investigating, and Paradox comes around the corner, and he's like, "Holy shit, what just happened?" And B13 comes around the corner, and she's like, "I'll tell you what happened. You fucked up. We've been chasing you, and we noticed this spike in irregular activity. So here we are to arrest you." And he's like, "No, these were friends, and these are heroes, and they did the hero thing, and they're gone now." No, we're not. Come around the corner, and they're still alive because regenerative powers, because superhero movies, because
because and I kind of like that choice, because I like that it's like, I don't know, it kind of, if you're not just doing the same thing that Logan did again, and you're also being like, you know what? Maybe if you work together, you don't have to sacrifice. Like you could, by working together, you can both get through this thing. Instead of being like, I don't like the. I think it's overused as the trope of like, the one great person who goes off and sacrifices themselves and becomes a martyr or whatever. It's like, actually, these two people work together and neither of them had to die. I like that.
I like it too, because it's again, the whole thing is about self-awareness. It's like, you can't kill the guy because he's going to come back. So why not just avoid the whole thing and just not kill him in the first place?
Yeah, there you go.
So they survive. They celebrate. Deadpool says to B13, "Can you fix this whole thing's been about Wolverine. I promised him that I could maybe fix his world." She goes, "No, I can't do that." What was the first thing he asked for? I forget. It was to. She asked B13, "Can you fix Logan's world? Can you go back in time?" And she's like, "No, he's the person he is because of what happened. So no, I can't do that."
Right. Yeah.
What was the other thing he asked?
Well, I know that they were like, and your world is fixed now, and it's no longer going to die because it's the end of the movie.
He did the thing. He brought back the anchor. He brought an anchor to this world.
Which they said wasn't going to work earlier, but for whatever reason, it worked. Like that. I hated that anchor shit. I'm going to be real. I fucking hated that.
All right, cool. So they survive. They go off, and Deadpool introduces Logan to his family. He introduces the dog pool and Wolverine to the blind lady. I forgot her name. But yeah, Blind Al.
Yeah.
They have a little celebration, a little get together. And am I forgetting anything? Is that the end of the movie?
Yeah, I think that's about it. Like, I love that. I'll just say too, I love that. Logan's about to walk off into the distance, like, all right, I'll see you later, bub. I'm gonna go do the thing that all the fucking John Wayne would do at the end of every fucking movie, where he's like the lone man or whatever. It's like, no, like, fucking come into the family. Like, you've had this traumatic past or whatever, but like, now we have a new family. You don't have to be the loner walking into the fucking distance at the end, like all these movies. Like Shane and all this shit. So I like that. And then the last thing that happens in the credits is there's a really nice like tribute to like all the old Fox movies, even the ones we didn't like Fantastic Four reboot, which you leaned on, like, this emotional moment. You just leaned on. You're like, did you see this one? I was like, no one did, Damian. But it was it was played to that one song that's on every graduation video or whatever. The one.
Green Day's Good Riddance.
Yeah, thank you. And so it was actually kind of cool to see, like, because it's like, oh yeah, like, I remember all these movies. I remember like watching these as a kid and like growing up with these through the years and spending a lot of good time with these Fox things. It was a nice kind of little, postscript on this universe, in the way that, like, in the same way that I said, like, with the Sony Spider-Man movies, and the same way that Endgame was a nice it was a nice ending to the Marvel universe at that point. I thought this did the same thing with the Fox characters.
Yes, and I will just say, it's the MCU in general, superhero movies in general, get a lot of flack for, what do they mean? If they just die and the characters are coming back and we have recursions, and we have variants, and we have multiverses, what does it all mean? I think but Deadpool even said specifically, this whole variant thing, this whole multiverse thing is getting out of control. Stop it. But I think I would just say, it matters because it matters to us. The moments and the memories and the experiences matter because it matters to us.
Yeah, I would say because it wasn't like a joke or like, and it was a little jokey with the song, but like it was like these are actual moments. You see like it was a lot of behind the scenes footage, like people having fun, people being earnest, like Ryan Reynolds on the set of the fucking horrible Wolverine movie that everyone hated, talked about how much he wanted to play this character and how much it meant to him.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, that's pretty much it, right? For the Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, I think that about does it.
Ratings. What do you give ratings out of 10?
I was thinking about this. Out of 10, I guess I'll give it like, I'll double my Letterboxd rating, which I guess would have been I'll give it a 7.
7?
Yeah. Passing grade.
Yeah, I will actually say I went to somewhat tepid, mixed expectations, just based on, the people that have seen it already.
Well, that's why I was confused by that, because you said that, and then I looked on Rotten Tomatoes and I saw that it actually is doing well.
Yeah. I will say 8. I will say incredible, really, really good, inventive, imaginative action set pieces.
Yeah.
The car scene was very, very good. Their first fight, which we didn't actually talk about because they fought in the void when they first get there.
Right.
They fought each other, which was a very good fight scene. And then the one of the last ones between all of the Deadpools was incredible. Love that scene. So based on that, based on the cameos, let me ask you just before I forget, favorite cameo in here. It can be multiple ones.
I mean, like all those cameos, like all the ones where they're like the kind of the remnants of the old Fox universes were cool. It was cool to see Wesley Snipes saying "motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate uphill." A movie I haven't seen, but I know that line.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never seen any of the actual Blade movies.
Wow.
But,
Okay. Blade 2's great.
That's the one Del Toro did, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
But so those were all cool. Gambit, incredible.
Yeah.
Obviously, Channing Tatum was having a good time, but and X-23.
Yeah.
Daphne Keane. I don't even know if I'd call that a cameo because she just kind of was like back,
Yeah.
But it's still Chris Evans. It's Chris Evans as the Human Torch. He was so fucking good.
Yes. Probably. Yeah. Chris Evans is just, as a person in the MCU, as a person in these movies. Yes. I would probably agree with that.
And that'll that made me be like, there are these legacy characters that Marvel had, that they retired. That I'm glad. I really don't want them to come back, but maybe those actors can come back in a different role. Maybe we'll get to that later.
Yeah. Yes, and other things. All right. So I think that about does it. Yeah. So is there any impact on the MCU going forward, do you think? Because they specifically said one of the first things in this movie was like him talking about trying to find purpose and trying to be like, I want to matter. One of the first things in the movie we didn't talk about was him going to the 616 universe in 2018. So it's pre-Endgame, talking to Happy Hogan and saying like he wants to join the Avengers, and Hogan was like, no, you're not going to do that because you're dumb. So he tried to join the Avengers, then it went back to his universe, which was like 10009. So it's pretty safe to say that this isn't going to impact 616 going forward.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So that's our discussion on Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, do you want to take a break and before we go into go take a break before going into Comic-Con and all that stuff.
Sounds good to me.
Be right back. All right, and we're back talking Comic-Con. We both went to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all 5 days. Let's start at the beginning. Meeting up Wednesday.
Yeah.
We met at where we got our badges in the sales pavilion, right?
Yeah. We met up and then I grabbed my badge. You had rolled in afterwards, and met in the flesh for the first time.
Bang some flesh.
No,
you said flesh. You said the word.
I said flesh. I didn't say bang.
You knew it was going to happen when you said flesh. We met up, hung out on the expo floor, which you didn't probably spend very much time on the expo floor at all, did you?
I walked it a little bit. I felt like I got. We didn't before we got the expo floor because we were outside at that point. We went and because. We were in, and then we went out because you were a little bit behind me getting the badge, and then we couldn't get back in. And then we went up with a friend of mine, Thomas, So we did before that. We actually got to get into an exclusive, I guess, experience, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, activation, which was cool because got on the list. I'm a big Apes fan. Got into that. Got to check out some Apes history because I'm a really big enthusiast for that stuff. Got to see Dr. Zaius, costume and see the costume. I was like, oh, that's Malcolm from the second one, and there's the Colonel. There's Nova over there, and and then we walked around. And there was the guy. I wish I had his name in front of me, but the guy who he kind of taught Andy Serkis and Kevin Durant how to walk like an ape. And
they were actually there in the flesh.
Yeah, and that was cool. And there was like a hawk, the real hawk there. That was really cool. So they had some really interesting, cool shit there. So I'm really glad we got to get in, and they were very kind there. And you saw some people you were a big fan of just kind of walking around in there.
Yeah, I did. I first walked in there. I'm just like, first day in California, first day in San Diego, I'm just like taking it all in. I'm just trying to soak it all in. And so I met you. That was a big deal. And I met Thomas. And I'm just like, oh my God, the people in flesh. And we went over to the Apes exhibit, and we were just walking around looking at stuff. And I was like, I know that guy. I know that face. It was Brandon Davis from comicbook.com, a podcast he does with his buddies, with the people that work there at comicbook.com. Phase Zero, the very good podcast. We saw their podcast on Sunday, yesterday. We met up with them, and I just, I got to, network, as it were. I got to ask him a bunch of questions and be like, hey, man, I want to be where you are. Can I just wear your skin? Can I just be you right now? Is that a thing I can do?
Can I do the Cassandra Nova to Doctor Strange?
Yeah. So we had a really good chat. I just asked him a bunch of questions and said, I love your interviewing style. I love Kevin McCarthy. He's a great interviewer as well. And just shot the shit with him and just asked him. I asked him what do you think? Because it's something I always want to ask, MCU people, of Kevin Feige, of just and the people that specifically because of Deadpool was coming out this weekend. I just want to ask him so what do you think is the things that Kevin Feige is talking to them about? The things that the overarching story beats, and what do you think the things are that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman brought to it in terms of they've been playing these characters for a long time. So what do you think that they brought to the things that they talked about and specifically wanted to see? And he's like, yeah, that's a great question. I've asked that before, and it's they do bring a lot to it. Kevin Feige is a very magnanimous about that, about bringing in other voices and allowing collaboration on that level. So yeah, I met him a couple of times. We hung out. Obviously, Thomas, me and Thomas want to get into that world, so we were very much very cool to meet him as well.
Yeah, they seem like cool guys.
Yes,
cool guys and gals.
Cute, yeah, very cool guys and gals. Just going
non-binary folk, if there were anybody, I don't know.
Yeah, couple things just randomly wrote down about Wednesday. We did that. We went to the show floor. We saw a vending machine with $30 champagne, which is pretty cool. I got a photo of Superman staring at my ass. They had a giant.
You're posed, man. That was something else. Although the bottles were later on because that was in the Marriott when we got lost.
Marriott, yes. Yeah, just saw a bunch of stuff. I'll showing them right now. Superman staring directly at my
post that
hiney.
to the Instagram.
I did. I posted a bunch of stuff to my Instagram. Just as I'm thinking of, I want to go day by day, but as I'm thinking of it, Saturday, Hall H, we saw Kevin Smith. That night, I tweeted out, as I did pretty much every day, of just a breakdown of what he did that day, and I just said, I added Kevin Smith on Instagram. He liked on Twitter. He liked my tweet, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. So yeah, Wednesday night, very cool. We did, met up with you guys and Brandon Davis and hung out on the expo floor. So that was Wednesday, very short Wednesday.
Very short because the expo floor was only open from 6 to 9. We got in about 7, a little bit after 7, then kind of walked the floor, got a good lay of the land.
Yes.
But it was kind of crazy in there,
Yep. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, hung out a little bit early on, but because your panel was at 4, I wanted to make sure where it was. So you checked out the library. You were in there. You watched a panel on. Remember what was it on? I think it was just journalism and
it was I think the official title was How to Start a Podcast, which is interesting because there was one of the panels I pitched was very similar to that, which I'm like, well, it makes sense that one didn't get picked up. There's already had a panel in probably the same room where it would have happened, but yeah.
It was a cool panel. I got to ask a question of just basically as a content creator, as a podcaster, putting your voices out there, putting your opinions out there, how do you balance having authenticity, which is what everyone wants. If you're listening to a podcast, if you're watching a whatever, you want the person to be authentic. You want them to give their actual thoughts. How do you balance that out with giving too much negativity, being too critical about things, when you also want those people to come on the show? So I got to ask that question. They gave a really good answer. And then you had the panel. You had the panel at 4:00.
I did. Right at and there was a couple other ones I checked out too. There was a Lost panel that was really cool. I wanted to shout that out. They're making a Lost documentary that I'm excited for. There's also a Cancer Gets Lost charity that goes on, so I wanted to shout them out. Me being a mega fan of Lost, it was funny because I was with you and one other person, and I was like laughing and cheering, and I'm like, oh my god, I remember that episode. You guys were like, what the fuck are you talking about, Eric?
Yeah.
I don't know what any of these references are, but I was like, oh, the McCutcheon whiskey, blah blah blah, So, but yeah, and then after that, a little bit after that was. Why films go under the radar?
Why films go under the radar at 4:00. I don't have their full names, but Alex moderated it.
Alex Catherine was the moderator, good friend of mine.
Yep. We have, let me see if I can zoom in real quick on all the names here. Karosh
Jozavi, another recurring guest of mine, was on the panel as well.
We have Austin Olivia Kendrick, does sound engineer, correct?
Yep, sound engineer. They've worked on stuff like Star Trek and all kinds of shows. Really, really talented. Does post sound stuff on film and TV, and has a really large following on TikTok as well. So.
Yeah, tens of thousands of followers on there. Somebody named Derek Duff was also there.
Yeah, weak point in the panel.
You were very good. Thomas Craig, very good podcaster as well. He has I think he's around the same number of shows of episodes as this one. I think we're in the 190s. I think he has around 150, 160. So he's a very talented guy there. And also JPG.
The man himself, yes.
Yes, he's one of the best moderators I've seen. Alex was very good. I went to many panels. We both did, but I saw some that were not moderated very well, and the panelists were not great. So your panel was one of the best I've seen.
Thank you. Yeah, when I think I made it, had some good people up there with me. They're all people who have been on the show at least a couple times. Alex being the moderator, she hasn't been on yet, but we do have plans to do the Spice World episode. But yeah, I knew they were all going to bring their best game. They all did a great job. Was really excited. I think the panel went spectacularly. I was very, very happy with it. You were kind enough to be the videographer for it. So that video will be going up next week on YouTube and Spotify and all the places. So, yeah.
Nice, very cool. Yeah, very good panel. A little bit of a blur after that. I kind of left there and I spent a bunch of time on the expo floor just looking at all the artist alley. Just the expo floor is huge. It is probably football fields large. There's so many things to see. If nobody's ever been there, it is just so overwhelming, not just with the amount of people, but the amount of properties, the amount of things to see, and so many different lines, because there is so many different exclusive stuff you can get there. That was a little chaotic. I will say, just overall, the line management could have been a lot better. There is the people that volunteer for this are literal volunteers. Do you need a charger for your phone?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna plug in. Don't mind me.
I'm not sure it's just the expo floor and the con itself, the convention center itself. There's too many people. There's too many goddamn people. Yeah. So I'll just say that. Volunteers, like I said in all my posts, did an incredible job. They were very patient, getting everybody in and out. But just the show floor, there were so many people, and there were so many lines for so many different things. There are Funko Pops. There's shirts. Mm-hmm. There's so many exclusives people are lining up for. Just so many people. Great.
It's just and that's part of the reason I don't like being on the floor so much. It's a massive humanity. There's cool stuff there, but I mean, and it's not really that's not really my vibe anyway. I would much rather than being on the floor, being in a panel that's just going to be something that is instructive to me as a podcaster or as a content creator, or even though I kind of hate that term, something that can help me grow and develop as somebody who can talk about media better, rather than just being I'm just gonna. And there was some cool stuff. I walked through the Star Trek menagerie and stuff, and I bought a cool hat. But I don't need to have the exclusive pin and all that shit. Although I did get one exclusive cool thing, and I'm gonna make a TikTok about it later when I officially unbox it. But I did buy the Jimmy Buffett Jurassic World figurine. So
amazing.
very proud of that.
Yes,
purchase.
as you should be. As you should be.
That happened like it was me and my other friend. We were walking the floor and we just kind of looked as it was like there was like 10 minutes left one of these nights. I forget which night it was. It must have been Friday. And I'm like seeing that. Oh, there's like I just see all these cool Jurassic Park toys, and I'm like, that's the Jimmy Buffett when he runs with the 2 margaritas. And some guy was like, yeah, they're selling them right over there. I was like, oh, do I get it? Do I get it? I was like, yeah, I'll put the $30 down and get this fucking dumb thing because that makes me so happy.
Yeah, exactly. Those things do make us happy. It's the thing of like, I think I saw a tweet today of just like millennials are just spending the very little money we have left before the world burns. So it's great.
Yeah.
It's
What
fine.
did you? So I got that. I got a Nostromo hat, which I'm wearing right now as you're talking to me.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool because I love stuff that's like from the universe. Like I would rather wear a hat that says Nostromo than the one that says like Alien or whatever.
Yeah.
What cool stuff did you get? Because I know you got a lot of shit.
I'll put my mic down and I can show some of it. You can talk.
Yeah, all right. I can be like all right, let's see what he's bringing out here. He's got a duffel bag because
I bought a new duffel bag just for it.
Wow, yeah, because every time I'd see you, you had just like your big bulky bag just filled to the brim, and I got some free shit too. But like you were just like from what I heard from you, you would jump in a line and just like start. All right, you want me to just start describing everything? All right, we've got here it's the 4K. It is the steel. Oh, that is cool. The Boy and the Heron. It was on my top 10 last year. If anybody remembers. So this is very cool. Very cool. 4K HD Blu-ray limited edition steelbook for Miyazaki's probably last film.
Thomas talked about one of these people in they had a booth and they were comic book artists, and I picked that up. As soon as I came by them, they were like, "Yeah, I make this comic about this thing." I was like, "Oh, Thomas?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I felt obligated to get their book. I won't take everything out because I already folded it.
California Ink.
Yeah, it's just some
shirts in here.
Pretty cool shirts. I got a Pulp Fiction thing, and it was like, well, you buy 3 shirts, and we'll give you a mystery one for free. So of course,
that's a deal right there. You're losing money if you don't do that.
I'm literally losing money if I don't do that.
Yeah, that's how that works.
I got a Dragon Ball Z exclusive shirt.
Exclusive.
Yeah, that day.
Yeah.
Doesn't
some results, but it's like with the one without the E's in it or whatever.
Yes. So I got that.
Okay.
I got some pretty cool bags actually. I grabbed them for the merch. I got those free with the merch. Got a pretty nice.
Oh yeah, you got your Deadpool hat.
Deadpool hat. I was wearing one of the days. Shiny
and chrome.
Shiny and chrome. I got actually nice. I got some comic books here,
Nice.
graphic novels, some stickers, tchotchkes, swag. Not swag. I think swag specifically means free things, right?
Stuff we all get.
Stuff we all get.
At least as Scott described it. I did get a little bit of swag because I will say one of the cool things I got. Ooh, what's this? Fantasy playing cards. Nice. Yep. I got. Did you see there was like the box lunch line outside?
Yes.
You ever been to box lunch?
No.
If it's like the best way I can describe it is if Hot Topic wasn't trying so hard, right?
Yeah.
It's like basically if Hot Topic was me when I was 15,
Yep.
Box Lunch is me when I was 30. It still likes My Chemical Romance, but just not as much.
Yeah.
It's not as all encompassing, but they had a line for the box lunch thing, and you actually get like if you just signed up for like text or emails or whatever, they would give you like a free swag bag. So there's like a big box lunch bag, you'd get something random. And I ended up, because I was with I was with a couple, they ended up getting the same thing, which was the coolest thing. And I was like, well, if you guys don't want 2 of the same thing, I'll trade you. So I traded I had the Funko Pop I traded away. It was like a Loungefly bag with like Loki and Sylvie on it.
Nice.
So yeah, that was pretty sick.
Oh yeah, show me that. Yeah. That was freaking sick.
It's in this room somewhere.
Yes. So that's about it. I still got a really nice.
Got a mystery guy here, Image of Reality.
Yes, I assume if I don't open it, it'll save its value. So we're gonna keep that closed.
Oh, okay.
And then just a really cool. I always wanted one of these backpacks that sort of have has really nice.
Guys.
Yeah, the metal on it is really cool.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
So we got one of those
high quality shit right there.
high quality backpacks. So yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
That's
Good
what
stuff.
that's what I pretty much came here for. The panels, meet people, and have nice conversations, and buy a lot of shit.
Buying the good stuff. The good. You can't get this shit in Massachusetts.
Literally
You
cannot.
cannot. I mean, maybe the Boy and the Heron Steelbook, but I'm not even sure about that.
We are, we're talking about Thursday. So we're at Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Pop culture trivia with JPG moderating with Mayana, Baron, Mitch, Narito, who is Donkey Dog on The Good Place.
Yeah, shout out to that guy. He was a homie. I took some shots with him.
Yeah. Very good dude. Maya Brown and Cole. I didn't write down his last name, but he was a very cool guy.
Cole, fuck, I should know this. He's been on JPZ's podcast forever. But yeah, Cole.
Cole, yes. Very good panel. Very funny stuff. I believe you went home after that. I stayed for one more panel called the Ghostface Killers Trivia. It was this horror podcast that they had Ghostface, the voice actor for Ghostface, did some lines, called in. And
I thought it was going to be like a rap thing, like Ghostface Killer. Like, that's what I legitimately thought.
Yeah. No, it was fine. I don't think it was worth my time, but pretty good.
I had a train to catch that night. There was no late trains on Thursday, so
yes.
I had to get out of there.
So that was Thursday. Anything else about Thursday?
No, I think that covers it. I think, yeah. Like, the big thing for me was like, all right, I got to do my panel. It was really cool because those, like I said, those are all people that I had on the pod before. I had met a couple of them before. I had never met Austin before, so it was really cool to meet her and her husband in person, and just getting up there and having a good panel. It was kind of a dream come true. I've always wanted to have a panel at Comic-Con, and I finally got to do it.
Yeah, it's very cool. Getting into Friday, I think I started the day 10 a.m., so I got there pretty early to see Diablo Cody, one of the great screenwriters of her generation, obviously Juno, bunch of things with, who's the actress from Furiosa, who played
Michelle LaJoy?
No, she played Furiosa in the first one.
Oh, so from Mad Max, that would be Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron, Tully, and a young adult, done from this past year. Lisa Frankenstein. Yes, very, very good screenwriter.
I'm really bummed I didn't miss that one because I would have had to catch like a 7:30 train, which means I would have had to waken up at like 6.
Yeah,
I was not willing to do that.
I just Ubered everywhere. Unfortunately, I probably have like a $400 Uber bill, but
you could have taken the trolley for $250. But
yeah, I'm a capitalist. That's what I do. Very good panel. Diablo Cody's panel was very, very good. Moderated by Casey Stefan of Variety. So it was very.
Yeah, there was another one of the other panels I submitted to was Elisa, or it was a Jennifer's Body 15th anniversary panel, and I wonder if they were like, we're actually going to have Diablo Cody here, so maybe that's not the best move. So it makes sense that they chose the one that they did.
Yeah. So that was a very good panel. Tell me about your Friday, because I had to cut it short. Wasn't feeling too hot by the end of the day. So tell me about your Friday.
I'm trying to remember what panels I even went to. I was like, okay, cool. I'll just look in my app.
Yeah.
To see what I went to, and the app is of course now not working. There is no more Comic-Con anymore.
I have a couple rooms. 28 AB on Friday. Romance Fantasy. Spotlight on Kirsten White. Spotlight on the fantastic world of William Stout. Terry Moore talks comics. Friday was pretty short. I'm trying to think what we did. I went back and forth a lot. I know Friday we both went to a mixer, which was very fun.
Oh yeah, that was like the middle of the day. We went to the creator mixer, met some really cool people there. There was homies. Jason was there. JPG was there, I should say. And then after that. That was after. Oh, right. That's what I did. I met up with somebody and we went to the Hall H, and since it wasn't like the Marvel day, it wasn't as packed. And I caught the second half of the same panel that I went to go see. I think I talked about with you on Directors on Directing. I talked about that at WonderCon, so it was the same people putting it on, different directors. This time, the directors were Werner Herzog and Anton Fuqua. So that was really cool. He was telling all his Denzel stories, and Werner Herzog was just it was just kept talking. He's like, the Patriot was a crazy shoot. Mel Gibson, he's got an anger in him, and everyone's like, yeah, dude. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to. And I was like, dude, yeah, it's Mel Gibson. He's a psychopath. He's a very angry person.
I didn't know Werner Herzog was Italian, but okay.
He's German.
He's German.
Is
yeah,
he German?
Austrian.
Yeah. Because I heard him speak, and I was like, "Is that Arnold?" for a half second. Arnold like this is more like this, so is Warner more like this? I only heard
Yeah.
him talk the one time, so I don't know what he actually sounds
You
like.
haven't seen? I think I sent you the clip of him on Conan where he was talking about. I love the Honey Boo Boo.
Oh, sorry, not Werner Herzog. Fucking what's his name? Look, the guy who Roland Emmerich.
Okay.
Roland Emmerich. But so that was more of a Roland Emmerich.
Okay.
Werner Herzog is he's more
Yeah.
he's more like the bear is going to eat him.
Never listen to this footage. Never.
I would like to see the baby. Sorry, Roland
It's
Emmerich,
okay.
not Werner Herzog.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, and that was really cool, and that led into the panel that I was actually there for, which was the Alien Romulus panel. So that was cool. You know me, I'm not one of these guys who's like, I gotta see all the footage first. That's not ever been my vibe. But I was really down to see Fede Alvarez and Kaylee Spaney and all the other cast talk about this movie and kind of talk about why they wanted to do it and stuff like that. And Ridley Scott came in like with his there was like a video where Ridley Scott asked him a couple questions and he was just like, all right, I want you guys to like rank all your favorite Alien movies, and remember, I'll be listening. So and Fede Alvarez was really cool. I liked him a lot. Kaylee Spaney was cool. The rest of the cast, there was including what's her name from Madam Web. She was there, and somebody asked her. I was like, is she fucking from Madam Web? I was like, yep, she is. And then somebody asked her a Madam Web question.
No.
Yeah, and I was just like, dude. But yeah, that was a lot of cool. That was cool. And then the end, they did this really fun thing where, like there was like the third question or whatever, and like somebody was like, "Oh, do you ever have like nightmares about the alien?" And then like all of a sudden, like fucking, and then Fede Alvarez says, "Yeah, I do. Like you're laughing, but it's not funny, And then all of a sudden, like the lights went down and like alarms started going off, and there was this little animatronic face hugger that was like running across the stage, and this guy came out and like the fucking chest burster came out of his chest, and then we all got these like big rubber chest bursters that you can wear as an actual mask that are actually like nice quality, and it's gonna be between that and the Nostromo hat. I'm gonna have the makings of a Halloween costume now. So that was how I ended my Friday. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like I said, I had to cut Friday short.
Yeah, I think there was JPG had a couple panels after that too.
Nice, yeah. I looked at my Steps app and I walked like 10 miles the day before, so I think I overdid it. So
that's fair.
I took the Friday night off. Saturday,
Big day.
big fucking day, dude. I have a couple notes about Friday Expo floor. I was just saying, figurines. I took a lot of pictures of figurines. I love the detail work on that stuff. Funko Pops. I talked to a bunch of artists. Great floor. So Saturday started off pretty slow for me. Went to a panel on Harvey Picar. The woman who was there has been to every con ever since the very beginning.
Oh, wow. Since like the original one, like 1970, where there was like a fucking 100 people or whatever?
75, I think she said. But yes, she's been to every con ever.
Well, then there was 5 she didn't go to, but still, we'll let it slide.
Yeah. Just a bunch of, older people talking about Harvey Picar. I talked on iFanboy about my comics origins, and my comics origins is basically late 90s was a very bad time for the big two. I don't know about Marvel, but I read a couple DC stuff.
Oh, well, Marvel was in trouble financially.
Yeah, so DC, this is post, Death of Superman. They were doing some wild stuff with like Superman Red, Superman Blue. So I really gravitated towards more indie stuff. American Splendor, Ghost World are the big two, but there's so many more indie comics that I was into back then. American Splendor movie came out, which is when American Splendor movie and Ghost World movie definitely got me into that stuff. So that was one of the reasons I went to the Harvey Picar panel, which was okay. I think I left there early for another one. Let me see if I can look through the pictures. Tell me about your early Saturday.
Saturday, I did one thing. Yes. I got there at noon on my train, and I was like, you know what? I looked at the schedule, and I was like, there's a bunch. Everything I want to do is pretty much in Hall H. So I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get in because we were talking to Thomas, and he got there like 7:30 and barely got in with his ADA pass and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't know if I'm even going to get in. But actually, there was surprisingly like no line. I got there during the Superman and Lois panel. But when I got in there, it was completely packed. There was literally no seats. I walked around with a person for like 20 minutes being like, is there a seat here? She was a very helpful volunteer. She was like, is there a seat here? Is there a seat here? And finally found one. And I got there and I was sitting next to a fucking screen kid all day who was very annoying. That kid sucked. Sorry, your children are terrible. Stop fucking letting them be on screens all day and being hyperactive little children. You're ruining everything. Our generation is not meant to be parents. Sorry. Anyway, that's a whole tangent. But yeah, I got to do Hall H all day. Didn't really. The first panel I was really excited to see was the one at noon, which was the Star Trek one. Before that, though, saw the end of Superman Lois, saw a cool Superman Dark Apocalypse fight, and then after that, Keanu Reeves came up promoting Berserker, and I don't really care about Berserker, but fucking Keanu Reeves, man. So that was how my day started. Before I got into the panels, I was really really there, excited to see.
Yeah, my day was panel. I think you you sent me the text, or I sent you a picture of panel with David Dasmalchian, Scott Snyder, Jim Chinian the fourth. I forgot the other creators there. Becky Cloonan, and there's another one there. Comic book artist. David Dasmalchian is the horror guy. He's in.
I like it when he's in that. He's really good when he's in that one weird movie.
Yes,
where he plays
exactly.
like a creep.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight.
I was gonna say like literally any movie he's been in.
So
Like a weird little guy.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. They have a bunch of horror comics coming out later this year. So I went to that panel and just looking through the pictures. Let me see if I can my notes. I went to there are two big panel rooms. There's Hall H, but then there's also Ballroom 20, which I wasn't aware of. Ballroom 20, I went there after the expo floor again for a critical. When I got there, the critical role panel was just ending, and I got there to move up a lot more. I think as opposed to Hall H, Ballroom 20 clears out quite a bit. So I was able to move up pretty closely and catch the entirety of the silo panel, which I was there for just to breathe the same air as and be in the same room as Rebecca Ferguson, Common, the screenwriter of. My mom might be coming in just to let you know that she's coming back from seeing what's that? Fly Me to the Moon.
Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah,
you can get her take on it.
Yeah.
I'd love to have Mama Sherman on the podcast.
Yeah. Rebecca Ferguson's Common, the screenwriter of Silo and the book author, moderated by Adam Savage. So it was pretty cool being in the same room as all those people. So after I finished that, I texted you and it was like, I'm going to head over to Hall H. And so I don't know what your experience was lining up, but when I got there, it was, I know that the Marvel panel was happening, and I know that after the Marvel panel is the Kevin Smith panel, pretty famous back-to-back panels at Hall H for the past few years. So I was able to move up in the line pretty quickly. So I got in there, and I think I went in and just like zoomed into the front. I was like trying to get as close to feeling as possible. And then you texted me, and we met up and we hung out there for pretty much the entirety of the Kevin Smith panel.
Yeah, well, let me back up a little bit because there was some panels going on between then and when we met up for Kevin Smith, because the next one was the Star Trek panel, the Star Trek Universe panel, which was basically like 3 or 4 mini panels, like back to back, where the moderator, the guy who show ran and created Dear White People, forget his name, but him, and then Alex Kurtzman, who is the kind of like showrunner of, or like kind of like he's like the Kevin Feige for Star Trek TV shows. And so like the cast of Strange New Worlds came out and like they did their whole thing, and I was like, there's Hot Spock, and there's Rebecca Romaine, and there's all these people from the show that I recently have gotten very, very into, and I've got like 2 episodes left before I'm all caught up. And then they came out, they did the thing, and then the cast of Lower Decks came out, and I'm a really big fan of that. So we both got to see Jack Quaid. He was there promoting 2 shows, so I got to see Jack Quaid and all the rest of the cast who were great. And I thought it was funny. Jerry O'Connell and Rebecca Romaine both made, because there was a crossover episode recently between those 2 shows, and where Jack Quaid got to go into live action, and they were like asking both the panels like, who'd you like to see in live action? And Rebecca Romaine was like, well, that Jack Ransom character, he's pretty hot. It'd be cool to see him. And then Jerry O'Connell was like, it'd be cool to see the best first officer, the hottest first officer, because they were married in real life. So that was nice. And then there was a panel on like Section 31, which I do not know about because I did not watch Discovery, and it's a spin-off of that. And so that was cool. Then there was a really cool panel that EW did on female actors. Where they brought out she was like the senator or whatever from The Boys. I'm not caught up on The Boys, so I don't really know who she was super well. They also had from I'm spacing Rings of Power. She was like the queen of was gonna say Atlantis. What's the Atlantis called in Rings of Power?
I don't know.
It starts with an N.
Okay, I'll look it up.
But Numenor.
Numenor. Okay.
And so she was there. She was really cool. Then they also had somebody who was like very important for me for like respecting strong women and stuff like that. Catherine Mulgrew, who played Captain Janeway, Star Trek Voyager.
Yep.
And she was great. She was sitting directly next to the actress who plays Lois Griffin and a bunch of other great comedic roles. I was going to sneeze, but maybe not.
Bless you.
Excuse me. They actually had a really good rapport, really good funny back and forth. And then there was also the actress from Abbott Elementary. I wish I could remember more people's names other than Catherine Mulgrew, but that was a really cool panel. It was a really great panel. They had some really interesting questions, really good back and forth. Catherine Mulgrew I'm forever a fan of hers. And then, so that was the EW panel. After that, there was the Penguin panel. That was cool. So Matt Reeves was there. I'm a huge fan of his. Obviously, I've talked about that at length of the show. Chris Melody, who I didn't realize was on the show, was there. A number of other actors and actresses there. And then Colin Farrell zoomed in from Macau. So I was like, it's clearly like, because this is around like 5 o'clock. So this is right when the sun is clearly rising. He's got a cup of coffee. He's just woken up, but he was still giving great answers and stuff like that. And that was a lot of fun. And that all led up to, of course, the main event, which was the Marvel panel. And I don't know, like, do you want to talk about that back and forth? Because that was the big thing.
Yes. Let me pull up the article here, just rounding out everything. So tell me from the beginning, what happened there?
So yeah, they kind of did the thing where they're like, all right, well, we've got 3 movies. It starts with like Deadpool dances, and they were singing that Madonna song that we talked about, and they have all these dancers come out, and they actually started with like the panel started with like the intro that we saw in Deadpool. It's like he's humming it and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, cool. I bet that's the beginning of Deadpool, and it was. And then they had all the dancers come out, and then they did the thing, and then Feige comes out and he's like, that was cool, that was great, but Deadpool's out. Let's look to the future. And it's like, all right, we've got 3 movies coming out this next year. The first one is Brave New World, and the cast comes up minus Harrison Ford, because it's like Harrison Ford's probably not going to come to this kind of thing. And they come out, they do the thing. Anthony Mackie's like clowning on Tom Holland. He's like, guess what? He's like, yeah, there is I do have a movie now, and you're still short. And they were doing the thing, and we saw the trailer, and by the way, I'm gonna can I spoil something from the trailer that I don't think has been seen anywhere yet before?
Go ahead.
So the fucking the Eternal that fucking came out of the earth, remember at the end of Eternals, the fucking gargantuan, not the Eternal, but the fucking Celestial. And that's just been like a thing that people have been clowning on, like, fucking there's a thing in the ocean. Nobody's talking about it. It's important. And it was like, that's where adamantium is going to come from. And you have Harrison Ford be like, well, ever since this thing showed up in the ocean, and this new element, adamantium. And we're like, what the fuck? We just heard Harrison Ford say adamantium, and it's the dumb thing in the ocean? Hell yeah, I am all in. And
Tiamat.
you see, him do Red Hulk out and stuff like that, and they were like, and then Harrison Ford after that actually comes out, and he's like chasing around Anthony. He's like, I've been dealing with this guy for 8 months. He's, and it was like, oh shit, Harrison Ford's actually here. People weren't expecting that. He was doing his thing. Then comes up, what was next? There was what's the other movie that's coming out next year?
Captain America. No,
that's the one I just said.
Yep.
There's one.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Thunderbolts comes out. So it was cool. They have the whole cast. It's like basically looks like if Suicide Squad, but good is what it looked like. So I was excited for that.
Yeah.
And then they have Fantastic Four, and they're like, okay, they're off shoot. They're starting shoot in like 2 days or something like that. So we brought out the director, the guy from WandaVision. Matt Shackman, I think is his name. Comes out, and he's like, all right, we don't have any footage yet, but we've got this animatic. And it was actually like the actors doing all this crazy stuff, and it looks like this really cool retro. It's like The Incredibles, with like flying cars. It's not the 60s. It's like clearly like an alternate timeline. And then they're like, actually, psych, the actors are all here, and you see Pedro and everybody, Vanessa Kirby, all them come out, and you're like, oh fuck yeah, Pedro, and so that was really cool to see all them.
Fantastic Four: The First Steps. First Steps.
Yeah, they announced the name.
Yep.
First Steps.
Yep.
And then we got all excited for that, and they're like, well, there's one more thing, because we know after like all the stuff with them maybe changing, like Avengers 5 wasn't Kang Dynasty anymore. What's it going to be? And they announced, guess what? It's fucking Doctor Doom, and people are like, oh shit, Doctor Doom. We can't. Avengers Doomsday, and they announced they do this little sizzle roll. and the first thing they do is like there's a sizzle roll, and they announce the thing that everyone's, and it's like Captain America, Winter Soldier, Captain America, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, and it's like boom, the Russos are back, and it's like cool. That people were expecting that. Yeah. The rumor's true, and then they're like, all right, well, what's it going to be? We're excited to come back for Secret Wars. That's why we came back. But what's it going to lead into Secret Wars? Who's the bad guy in the Secret Wars comics? Doctor Doom. So they're like, okay, boom, this is going to be Doomsday.
We need the best actor.
Mm-hmm. Well, slow down. You're getting it. Let me tell the story. All right, I was in the room. So they're like, all right. So there's like a bunch of different like hooded figures in Doctor Doom costumes that come out. They're all wearing masks and stuff like that. And they're like, who would be our Doctor Doom? We need an incredible actor, the best actor, and then one Doom comes out of the middle who's wearing like a different shade of green, and he kind of looks all dramatically at the crowd and rips off his mask and spreads his arms out in the cockiest way possible, and it's Robert Downey fucking Jr. And then he puts on his shades, hugs the Russos, and goes, "New mask, same task." And I was losing my mind. I've never experienced something like this before. Like, it was electric in the room.
Yeah.
I can't even describe it, because I'm not a person who kind of I usually don't like this shit. Like, if I had just been scrolling on TikTok, I'm like, Robert Downey Jr. is back and it's Doctor Doom. But
whatever.
Like, being in the room,
Yeah.
that would, like, because I don't like those kind of things usually, because it's like it spoils the big reveal in the movie.
Yeah.
But it was like I got to see the big reveal in the movie in real life. It was kind of cool to see just RDJ come out. That's a moment I feel like people are going to be talking about forever at Comic-Con.
Yes. How do you feel about it?
So I've complicated thoughts, because I think like it's with all this stuff, with it being Doom, with it being the Russo brothers, with it being RDJ, obviously, Marvel took some risks in the last few years and it didn't pay off for them. And now they're trying to play it very safe as possible, going back to all the things that worked for them in the past. I get why they're doing it. I get why Robert Downey Jr. has come back. It's something where I was like, there had been rumors that RDJ is going to come back. And like I alluded to earlier with Chris Evans, right? Chris Evans came back. He did not come back as Captain America. He came back as the Human Torch. I'm glad that he's not coming back as Iron Man. I'm glad that he's coming back as this other very iconic character who is also very cocky and a genius and stuff like that in a very different way. So I think that they could do something interesting with it. I'm glad that if RDJ is coming back, that he's coming back in this capacity. Yes. So I am cautious about it, but I think this is like one of those things that's like maybe this is the best case scenario,
Yeah, I totally agree. RGA coming back, Russo's coming back. The one element of all of that stuff, right, is Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. They've been writing the movies behind the scenes. We know writers are one of the most important aspects of.
No, you're right the first time, the most important.
The most important they are. So we need them back as well, right? The first two elements, yes, are incredibly important. Yeah, Marcus and McFeely behind all of it, behind the world building, behind all the events, behind the conductive parts of it, the building blocks, putting all that stuff together, putting together the 4 or 5 most important MCU films of the Infinity Saga. So we definitely need.
Are they not coming back? Has it been confirmed one of you?
I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I do want to, like, as much as they've been playing safe with everything, I'm like get some new blood in there. Like, I would love it if if the Russos didn't come back, they got somebody else. I'd be like, cool. I feel the same way about the writing team.
Yeah, maybe. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's the taking risks, right? The last few years, it didn't work out. They need the guys that have been doing it. They've been. I
disagree. I want them to take risks.
No, but I'm saying since they aren't going to, I'm saying this is my reaction to them not taking risk. They are playing it safe, right? But maybe that's, like you said, I agree that that's the direction maybe they should be going in. It'd just be interesting to know how long has this been going on. It's just because what they were talking about at the Phase Zero panel of I forget what his name was. Jim Biscardi came on last, and he was like, he was my guy. He was my voice of reason. All the guys out there, I agree with him most of just like, you took a long time to build up, the Infinity Saga to what it was, and I think a lot of that. If we go back and try to do that again, you would obviously compress the timeline. The first phase of the MCU took like 5 years. Now we don't need to do that because we've built the train track. We've done the foundational building of this entire world. So all of that 10 years of the Infinity Saga. Maybe we can compress it into the next 3 years, because that's what they announced. The dates are 2026 for Avengers Doomsday, and Secret Wars is slated for 2027. So that's in 3 years, right? I get that the argument could be we need time to build up to Doom, build up to the Fantastic Four, build up to X-Men. Maybe I guess we don't. Maybe we don't, right?
I think there's been, that's going to be like what, a 7-year gap between Avengers movies. I'm happy with that. I'm happy. Just give us a break. I'm glad that that's happening. Yeah. And part of that is because of the writer strike and COVID and a lot of external factors, and that's also a big part of the reason why Marvel has not had the tremendous success they have, is because of all these outside influences. Jonathan Majors, getting fired because of stuff that he did. They've had some bad luck, and they were, so I'm glad that it's maybe making them take their time. That this year we only got one Marvel movie, the one we just saw. So yeah, I'm fine with them taking their time.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Very good. So that was the Marvel panel.
Yep.
Yep.
The big one, and then it was the nice little chill out, nice little postscript of Kevin Smith when I was joined by you, met up with Thomas, who had been in the room with me, but we were never going to find each other.
Yep. Came in there, saw the entire Kevin Smith panel. I like the guy. He's a good guy. You know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's saying I was buying underwear in Target, man.
Ben Affleck. I live at Ben Affleck's house.
Yeah, we call it the Ben Affleck house, man. Me and my wife, we're crazy. Yeah, crazy.
He's got this giant door. It's thick as a door, thick as a penis. Not my penis, because my penis is small. He rambled for a while. Is the word I'm trying to think of there. But yeah, he's a very cool guy. Talked about the 4:30 movie. He put out the trailer there. Came out yesterday on Twitter. Looks pretty cool. Looks like if Richard Linklater made a Kevin Smith movie or vice versa.
Yeah.
Very hangout. Seems like a very hangout movie, so that seems cool. And then did Q&A, which he always does. And they need some better moderation there. I'm sorry. Like, people were coming up and just asking just the most long-winded questions. Kevin gives long-winded answers. So I got up there right after they said, come up to ask any questions, and I did. And I got up there and I was like, I'm 6 behind. So I almost immediately got on the line. But I sit up there for like maybe 20, 30 minutes, waited, watch all these people just ramble on. They had great conversation. I'm genuinely happy for them. But I was like, please hurry up. I was so close.
My question is more important than these guys. Shut the fuck up.
It really is.
Of all the 6,500 people in here, mine is the one that mattered. Actually, there wasn't that many. That was the capacity. It was very not too capacity, but still, there was a lot of people. There was a lot of fucking people in there.
There was a lot of people there. I was like 5th back, and I think when I sat back down, a couple of people in front of me got to ask questions, and they were like, "Yeah, I should have stayed in line."
Yeah,
I didn't though. I wouldn't have gotten up. There was a guy in front of me, and I think the 2 people after me were women, so I don't think the guy actually got up that was in front of me. But yeah, very good panel, very chill panel, like you said. And then we went out for drinks later, which was very fun.
Yeah, went to local Filipino kind of bar/restaurant. That's where I met up with Mitch Narito. Narito, I believe is his name, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So had met up with him. Met up with
Lumpia Factory.
Lumpia. So that was cool. Met up with our pal JPG, aka Jason, there, and had some drinks and had some delicious food. Had some sake. So it was a good time. It was a good way to just chill out with a bunch of really cool people after a day of being crammed into a tiny chair all day.
Yeah, very good time. Met some very cool people. So yeah, we headed back to our hotels after that. Then Sunday, last day.
Final day.
Dawn
of the final day. Majora's Mask.
Sunday,
Sunday.
I think I first met up with Thomas in front of the Phase Zero panel. I think that was at, was that 10 or 11? I think that was early.
It would have started at like 12 because that's 12. What I got there at like 11 or 11:30 and trying to get into the Godzilla -1 panel, and it was completely packed. So I was like, and I'd been texting Thomas, and he was like, "We're in this panel," and I was like, "Where is it?" And then I literally walked around the corner. I was like, "Oh, room 29. Here it is." And I walked in.
Yeah.
Saw you guys up in the front next to the camera, and your big bag was taking up like 3 seats.
So we sat down there. We got to watch the panel at livecomicbook.com/phase zero, hosted by Brandon Davis, with Jamie Derick, Aaron Perrin, Jenna Anderson, and I just said his name a little while ago, but he came in late.
The jail guy, right? They were like, he's out of jail.
Yes.
I don't know who. I was like, I don't know what that means, but Damian and Thomas seem excited by it.
Jim Viscardi works at Image now, formerly of comicbook.com. Yeah, very good panel. Very smart people, kind of what I want to do. Those are the people. Giantbomb.com is a similar thing for video games, very personally driven. So that is kind of my golden star right there. That is my compass. That is
North Star?
My North Star. Thank you.
Yeah.
Golden star. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I want to be doing. Is the thing they do. So
Well, we're doing it now. We're on our way.
we are doing it now. That's what I interviewed
yeah.
the guys at iFanboy. iFanboy is like the precursor for comicbook.com. They started in 2003. Josh Flanagan, Connor Kilpatrick, and Ron Richards. They started iFanboy way back in the day, 2003. So I interviewed them for a while, and then I was like, how do I get into this business? How do I do this thing? And they're like, you're doing it. I'm like, yes, but if a person podcasts in the woods and no one's around to hear it, did I actually podcast? So yeah, Phase Zero panel, very good. Thomas, good friends with them, and I was telling you, I went to a lot of panels, raised my hand for a lot of them, didn't get called on for a lot of them, so I didn't think I would get called on for this one, but I did.
Right, much to Thomas's dismay, because you guys, I was right between you guys, and you guys were each on one side of me, and I was like, all right, well, I don't think these guys are both getting called on, and you were the lucky girl.
I was, yes. They put out the podcast, and like I said today, it was just a chill day. Comic-Con is over, so I hung out with my mom and listened to a podcast pretty much the whole time. And Phase Zero put out the podcast from the panel, and so you can hear me there and see me in the crowd from on Instagram. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, did you hear your question then again?
Well, I wasn't mic'd up, but yes,
Yeah.
They repeated it. I basically asked them to rank going forward for the MCU. I just would like to know rank from least impactful to most impactful. Young Avengers, X-Men, and Fantastic Four. So I always like that's the questions I wanted to ask was that, because I've noticed going to a lot of panels is people will ask very open-ended questions, and open-ended questions seems to be the hardest to answer. So I thought I would give them some structure to work with there. So they basically said, Avengers, not really, because we haven't seen a lot of Hawkeye. We haven't seen a lot of, I guess, Echo would be one of them, maybe?
That'd be cool. I don't think so, but because he's not young or an Avenger, but
could be. You're right. She would be more of the Thunderbolts, I guess, right?
And that leads into something I wanted to talk about, the panel that I was really excited to go to on Sunday, which is the deaf representation panel. They did bring up Echo multiple times. That was a really cool experience, that panel, because they had the people on stage signing, the deaf panelists and one hard of hearing panelist. And that's, a community I've talked about before, the community that's, I'm adjacent to, that I've always thought were really cool. They had, people in the, they had people who had microphones who were speaking for whenever a specific person was signing, they would be talking. So that was really cool to get to hear them talk about, they had one of the actors who was supposed to be there from Coda. He unfortunately couldn't make it. But they talked about Echo and a lot of other really cool things in representation. They talked about DJ Metcalf and how he was a student in sign language from one of the panelists and how that's why he does his signs. That was really cool. So that was the panel I was most excited for, at least on that day. So that was really cool to get to go to.
Yep, I was there as well. It was a very cool panel. So that was pretty much all of Sunday, because everything was closing at around 5, right?
Yeah. Well, then we did the Starship Smackdown. That's like the big. That's always like it always ends the con.
Okay.
I guess I'd never been to it before. But where it's just kind of a very sleek panel where they match up different starships, and in the second round they'll have like different captains captaining different starships. So you have Bob's Big Boy being piloted by Captain Hook going up against, the starship from Starship Trooper, or not Starship Troopers, Galaxy Quest being captained by Captain Kirk, and one of the other Star Trek ships is being captained by Captain James Gordon, So it was a very, very silly panel.
Yes, I snuck in there near the end. I was at a neurodivergent panel. I was like, these are weird people. No, that was a very good panel as well. Just trying to see if there's anything that we didn't talk about. Yeah, anything from the con I've left out.
I think we hit pretty much everything. I'm sure I'll be driving home tonight and be like, oh, I should have brought up this, but no, I think that's it.
I think that was about it. Yeah, very good con. Again, thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh yeah, you're very welcome. That was a blast. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so yeah, anything else from the con? Anything else from Deadpool and Wolverine? What I mentioned before we go.
Yeah, I think that about does it for this spectacular bonus episode.
Yes, it's probably be going up in a few days. I got to head home on Wednesday, so probably Thursday, Friday, we'll be going up. So look forward to it then.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the meantime, my panel, as I mentioned, will also be. I just had a new episode come up earlier this week with my panelist, JPG, who obviously mentioned it a couple times. We talked about the Phantom on Underrated. And then the actual panel, including the video that Damian took, will be up the following Monday.
All right. Yeah, look forward to that. Look forward to that then. All right. So for Midnight Film Society, I've been Damian.
And I've been Derek.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.